Okay, folks, so I want to share some of these screenshots of some of these Janets that were coming down this last week. And, it seems like they definitely changed up their flight pattern in the last couple of weeks. And now I don't know if it has something to do with that Janet 26 that got struck by lightning, but that I believe was traveling up in this part of, the valley just above, this area here by like Indian Springs and all that. But typically, when these planes come down from the north there, from Tonopah, they'll come down. And for the longest time, for the last couple of years, they would cut across this part of Mount Charleston right here. And then they would come down and then come around this way over the Lake Mead foothills and then come into Erie Reed, like with the norm and blend in with the normal air traffic, right? Well, it just seems like, they've been changing up their pattern a little bit. This Janet 48 here, this has been the typical path, the flight path that they have taken for, a couple of years now since I've been out here anyway, noticing them. Um, but they seem to have changed up their flight path. And this one here, this was a Janet 74, and this one came in over top again. And this was just from a couple days ago, from this last week, and you can see it came down and around this way over by Nellis area, and then cut around over the Lake Mead foothills, and then came in and blended with the regular traffic. That's not typical. I don't believe that I've ever observed or seen the Janets coming in and out like this and coming around. Um, and then some of them have changed it up completely. Yeah, there's another one. There was another Janet 74 that came down around. You can see right up there is Nellis. It came down over Nellis and then around over the Lake Mead foothills in Lake Mead, and then came in with the regular air traffic. So that to me is just kind of different. This is Janet 34 that did the same thing, came down from above. This one came down from right, from directly above us to the north. And now this one here came down and around from underneath from a completely opposite direction. And this seems to be the main path that they've been taking the majority of this week is to go down around uh, the Red Rock Canyon and come up over Good Springs and then up in from the south. And I can't necessarily capture them very well when they do that, but I was able to capture a few of these that did come down, like this Janet 34 here that came down over the Dry Lake area. And and again, there's the Janet 16 that came up from underneath and completely changed up their flight path. So I just thought that was kind of curious. Again, there's the Janet 42, and typically, like I said, because I'm repetitive, I gotta say it again. I've been watching them for a little while now. They would typically come down from Mount Charleston and then come down and around and up over the Lake Mead foothills and then back around up towards Erie Reed. But they have been doing that lately, and I thought this was kind of curious too. I had this U.S. Army that approached the valley here, and instead of just kind of cutting across here, the FAA directed it down and around by Boulder City and then come back up very near our location here. So I thought that was a kind of an interesting loop there, and I tried to capture it, but as you could see, it was below 2,000 feet, so it was below my line of sight. I couldn't capture it. I caught a couple little clips of it, and I think I might have. I don't know if I uploaded those or not, but I just thought that was kind of curious. Yeah, and there's the Janet 16, and you can see here, these are the ones that will have been cutting across the very back. And these are the ones I can zoom in on these ones even as they're approaching. I can kind of zoom in on those ones that cut across the back, but you can see it approached from the west and then it cuts across the back instead of going out over the Lake Mead foothills, like off in this direction. Instead, it cuts across this back part. And even those ones I'm able to kind of zoom in on and catch a glimpse of and capture sometimes. But I don't know. This one here was kind of curious too. It was the first time I'd ever seen a Janet 01, and it was coming from out by the middle of the US. And this Janet 02 was doing some interesting loops up there around, this is up by Yucca Mountain too. So I thought that was kind of curious. Janet 02 was doing loops and stuff up around Yucca. But anyway, I do have some of these videos. Oh, that was the air cargo that I captured. Air cargo carriers. And I do have some of the video footage of the Janets too, as well, that I want to share. I'll put at the end here for this video, but that was the air cargo carriers. And I thought that was kind of an interesting one because it looked to me like this just had a whole bunch of extra stuff on it underneath, and it was going above our location pretty high up, but it wasn't on the flight tracker radar. And that was a very interesting sound. That was like a little boom out there somewhere. Hopefully it's just some fireworks. But anyway, oh, and this was a flying V, a flock of birds we captured that was going over the valley too. I'll have to share that video as well. But anyway, this one here, I wanted to share a little bit more information. Oh yeah, that's right. This was the Janet that did like a gleam off the headlight on the windshield. Yeah, I thought that was kind of curious, but let me get rid of this really quick and go back into here. And I'm going to open up this PDF file just to share a little bit of information about Janet and Janet Airlines. I mean, you have to consider the source, of course, Wikipedia. But, there are so many things about this airline. The fleet's Janet call sign is said to stand for just another non existent terminal or joint air network. Okay, I'm hearing some very loud booms. That does not sound like fireworks off to the north of our location. At least that's what it sounded like. Those were some very deep booms. Anyway, talks about the first flights. There goes another one. I don't know if this microphone is picking that up, but those are some very loud booms going on up to the northwest of our location here. Wow. Huh. It's interesting that they would incorporate this whole thing with there goes another one. Folks, I don't know if I like those booms going on. Those don't sound like fireworks. And that's off to the north of our location. I might have to end this video here. I want to scroll down really quick just to point out one of the other issues that fascinates me about these Janet airplanes is that this fleet was acquired from Air China, folks. Okay. All Janet 737-600 aircraft were acquired from Air China, and 4 were previously operated by the now defunct China Southwest Airlines before being acquired for U.S. Air Force operations starting in 2008. The aircraft were initially taken to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base before being transferred to Las Vegas. And there's an interesting story about one aircraft, a Beechcraft 1900, that was lost on March 16th in 2004 when it crashed on approach for Tonopah Test Range Airport after the pilot suffered a sudden cardiac arrest. 5 people, including the pilot, were killed in the accident. So I'm going to end this video because I want to start looking up a little bit of information and seeing if anybody else heard those booms. But these Janet jets fascinate me for more reasons than one. And one of the reasons is that we acquired it from China. And I just think that it's very curious that these aircrafts that we acquired from China um, go back and forth between our most secret military base, right? Just think that's kind of curious, folks. Anyway, stay tuned. If I hear anything about these booms, I'll definitely update y'all. Or if y'all hear anything about booms or anything going on in what would be like up in this area here, I mean, we're located right down here in Henderson, and those booms sounded like they were coming from off in this direction. And of course, there's Nellis up that way, so I don't know. The booms made me uncomfortable, so I'm gonna end this video. I'll put those other videos, the Janets that I captured, at the end of this video here. Thanks for watching, folks. Know that I appreciate you, and I appreciate the allies. I appreciate any likes, any shares. You know, it all helps with that battle against the algorithms. And I'm going to do an update as well on the email communication with the Mr. Boss that made the mistake of putting a copyright strike on my channel. I ended up winning, but I want to share the email communication with y'all. Anyway.
Ah, there he is.
coming in right almost directly above us. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Oh, just got a little gleam off of the window, the windshield there. Yeah, it's hard at this angle. Yeah, and this angle is rough.